Mind Gap Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin. And Doug, which Mario Kart character are you?
So what you all may not know is that Justin will usually copy and paste this question just before we hit record. And as he did that, I read that and my first response was, "Oh." He goes, "Oh, what? You don't like that one? Do you want to change it?" I go, "No." I just had a real honest moment with myself in that second when I read it, and I knew exactly what I was, and I was like, "Nah, you're probably right." Inner self.
It was genuinely the most, like, it was such a vulnerable, honest reaction that I don't think it was like your body took over. It was not you thinking about it. It was like, oh, his body betrayed him, and like he's so depressed right now.
I went to what I normally pick, which is Yoshi. I just like being Yoshi, but then I go, "You're Bowser. You know you're Bowser." You're slow to start. You're slow to start. When you get going, you're going. And when you touch people, they bounce out of your way because you're a big dude. That's who you are. You know what I mean? Like
it was just such a, such a, like, you were defeated in that moment.
I was like oh, Yoshi. Man. I'm like, you pick Yoshi, but you're Bowser.
You're Bowser. See, that's interesting that's how you took it though. Cause which Mario Kart character are you? I took of like, what's your favorite one to play and why? But like, I think the way that you interpreted the question is the way that it was meant. So yeah, because I don't really have one that I lock into per se, that I choose every time. I would probably say, who's the most like erratic, like the one that's the hardest to control?
God,
Is it
I don't
Toad?
know. It's hard to say because like I'm also basing it off of like the original Super Mario Kart from like Super Nintendo. I think Toad was an easier one. He like speeds up fastest, but he has a low ceiling on his max speed.
Got it.
So it's like he's kind of like a novice character in that like you can go, but like Donkey Kong and Bowser were kind of similar in that like they start very, very slow, but once they get going, they go fucking fast.
They're tanks.
Anyone who's lighter than them that they touch, they just smash them out of the way.
Yeah, just for me, like I'm absolutely just in playing the game. I'm just chaotic. So, and I like chaos a little bit in the real life. Birdo.
You're Birdo.
Oh, yep, absolutely. I could see Birdo.
Or Shy Guy.
I actually Birdo is very much resonating with me right now.
Yeah.
As I'm looking at these people.
What a strange character.
Baby Rosalina.
Baby. That's who I am. Nothing more chaotic than a child,
That's exactly it. Yes. But who personality wise, who do I see? The thing is, I feel like you have way more experience. Who would you put me as? Because I would put you less than Bowser. I would put you as Donkey Kong if I was.
Probably Donkey Kong is probably closer. Yeah. Lovable, dumb idiot.
I
would put you as like
bone in your body.
I would put you as I want to amend this as soon as I say it, but like Wario, like you have a mischievous element to you.
Yeah,
but Wario is like, kind of a bad guy, but you're not necessarily a bad guy, but you're like, I'm gonna check out how to get to the roof of this building. Like, like this door's locked. I wonder why. Let's see if we can get in. You're just like that kind of guy. It's like we're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Well, would it be? I would say either Wario or Waluigi then, right? Because
you're not tall and lanky though.
You're okay.
I'm not saying you're short and fat, but you're not like a beanpole like Waluigi.
No, I get it, and also the size of Wario's mouth, 100%.
Guy can fit at least 4 pool balls in that mouth. You know what I mean?
Oh, with pool balls? You talking beach balls?
No, I'm talking like table. I was gonna say table tennis. It's not what it is. Billiards. Billiards balls.
Billiard balls. Yeah. Well, you say pool balls, and I'm thinking like he could fit at least 2 beach balls in that mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without even gagging a little.
Well, yeah, you could probably still throw in some guacamole while you're at it,
2 beach balls and then at least 1 or 2 more billiard balls.
At least 2 beach balls and maybe a burrito bowl with double protein. And
From
some queso.
Chipotle.
Yeah.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah. This episode brought to you by Chipotle. Get it while it's hot and bothered.
Or just get it.
You don't
Chipotle.
like cilantro on your rice? Fuck you, you know?
You're a cilantro fan, right?
I think I'm indifferent. I think I've had it and I haven't tasted the soap. So I think I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
So I think I'm all right. But I don't
not
like
something
seek
to
it
cook
out.
with
I'm not
often.
like, let's throw some cilantro on that shit. I'm just like,
You know what
whatever.
this dish is missing? Cilantro.
Yeah, I kind of nothing it. No, I don't think I nothing anything as much as I nothing parsley. Parsley to me.
I feel like you've talked to me about this before where like you've got a thing with parsley.
I mean, I'm open to this, but parsley just seems like, hey, we want to put some green in the dish. We'll throw some parsley in there. I'm like, whenever a recipe calls for parsley, I'm like, I'm not putting that in there. It doesn't have any flavor. No. It doesn't have flavor. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't know. Whenever I've had parsley, I'm just like, I'm not like, ooh boy. It doesn't taste like thyme. It doesn't taste like rosemary. It doesn't taste like anything like that at all.
I'll agree that it does not have any. It does not have the intensity of those other herbs for sure. Like that's. I made some compound butter the other day with a whole bunch of stuff, and like the thyme put way too much in. Like that's all it took. It took over the I was like, okay, note to self: less time next time. Yeah. Not good. But I do think parsley adds flavor. Like I love this. I like the smell of it, and so I would say that it adds flavor to it. But it is in no way, shape, or form a dominant like seasoning or herb.
Yeah. So I'm like, what's the point?
If you can't dominate, then get out of my dish.
If I can't taste it, what's the point? Like top the dish with some fresh parsley. I'm like, why? Don't get me wrong. It looks good. You get a little bit of color, a little bit of green.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sprinkling on the top.
But you want the essence of it in there. It's not supposed to. You're not supposed to be like, duh, parsley. This dish is parsley up the ass. Which is also
I put thyme a little. I shake a little bit of thyme on my potatoes and roast them. I can taste them. I sprinkle some parsley on those potatoes. I don't taste it. What the fuck?
But do you not taste it when it's not on there?
Do you miss it? No. I think the right question is like, Doug, you don't put parsley on your potatoes, so you know. So you don't know that you don't taste it because there's no parsley on there. But I don't put parsley on there because I can't taste it.
I'm gonna next time you come up, we're this okay. So or the 500th. We're gonna do a. There's another thing to add to the list. We're gonna add a parsley taste test, a blind parsley taste test to the list. We're doing this.
We're going to make a whole bunch of compound butter with varying degrees of parsley. And you're going to tell us whether or not you can taste it.
Take a spoonful of this butter. Now take a spoonful of this, but by the end, Doug has tried 10 spoonfuls of butter. Right. Just straight butter.
Yeah. Babish has been doing this thing lately where he just does like, I tried every type of peanut butter on the market. I've tried every type of olive oil. I've tried every breakfast sandwich. And I'm just watching him do this. He just takes like a bite of every one. I'm like, what an awful, just endless sort of like taking bites of all these different things. I'm like, ugh.
At some point, I feel like you would start to just get like numb to the flavors.
Yeah, he also did one where he tried like store-bought cookies. I'm just like, good God. Like he had to separate it into like 2 days.
That's an endless amount of cookies.
Because he just takes one small bite just to get the flavor of it and then rank it. Yeah. And I'm like, that sounds miserable. Just absolutely miserable to be like, all right, bring out more cookies. He did another one with Halloween candy. He's like, I mean, all these are basically going to be probably a baseline 5 out of 10 because it's all just basically sugar. So it's like, is there really a bad one in the bunch? You know? So.
But also, what do you do when you bought all that? What do you do with the rest of that food if you're just taking a little bitty bite? Because it's open. You can't donate it.
I mean, he has a team. I'm sure they all share, I suppose. But like, who wants to eat all these fucking microwave breakfast sandwiches? You know what I mean? Like.
Oh wait, was it all like microwave? It wasn't like store. He didn't like go to McDonald's and go to where like.
No, he goes to the store and buys like stuff from the store. So
this is all store bought things.
Yeah, he was doing one with ramen. He's trying all different types of ramen and like just. I
can't imagine there's a lot of variation in ramen.
Cereals. He's doing different cereals and trying different stuff, and I'm like,
interesting,
exhausting. Just being like, all right, get me another bowl, put a little milk in it, one bite. Cool. On to the next. I'm like, this just
Does
seems
it ever
wasteful.
get exhausting to? It sounds like it's exhausting to watch, Doug. Is what it
I
sounds
mean,
like.
it's
Coming
kind of
down to.
interesting. Like Natalie's was obsessed with the Halloween candy one, and she was just like,
Well,
and
of
then,
course.
and then she started saying, "Dad, what do you think this is? Rate it. Rank it out of 10. How would you rank it?" And I was like, "Oh my
She got
god,
into
we're
ratings.
already doing this. This is
Yeah.
hilarious." It's so funny.
Has she at all toyed with the idea of, because she's been watching YouTube with, like, there's things on YouTube that she likes. Has she ever toyed with the idea of, does she understand that you can do YouTube?
I don't. It's weird because like she'll watch past streams of mine playing video games, but I don't think she fathoms, and even the ones that she's participated in for the
Yeah.
game nights and stuff. But like, I don't think she fathoms that it's like we could do that, and I kind of don't want her to think that yet.
Well, and that's because there's a whole like kids section where they had
Yeah.
like kids unbox toys and things like that. So like I didn't know if she ever had seen those and if that had ever registered. Like I want to do that on camera too.
Because part of me is like, I would love it because I think it was her school district was talking, or maybe I was reading an article just in general around the U.S. It was like some of the best podcasts produced by elementary school kids. And I was like, what? And I was
Really?
like checking them out, like just what they were about. And they were absolutely awesome. Some kids were like some of it was hyper specific to like their area. Some of them were just like interviewing different leaders. Like some of them were interviewing like, football players and shit like that.
That's cool.
Just really cool stuff. And I was like, I kind of be like, hey, because I think that I saw there was some elementary school that had like a podcast club, and I was like, hey, if you want to do that, like Dad's got your back. But I'm also don't want to be that guy. Like she had a video project for school where it was, hey, you have to record all of the smoke alarms in your house. You got to show us like how do you get out, if there's a fire and everything. And I go, so how are we supposed to edit this? Like, I was just like kind of asking some probing questions. I'm like, what's the editing process for this? She's like, I don't know. They're going to show us how to edit. I'm like, oh, they're going to show you how to edit. Cool. No problem. And then like later on, I go, so do you know how to edit? She goes, no. I go, why not? They go, they didn't tell us. I'm like, are they not going to tell you? She goes, I don't know. I'm like, cool. But the whole point I was asking was like, do you want Dad to help you do this? But I was also like, don't want to be that dad.
Like,
it's like, oh yeah,
pushing too hard into
that's also like doing their kids' project for them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
you're adding After Effects into it. You've got flames coming in the background, and she's going, in this situation, here's how we get out of our house.
I get out a green screen, and she's like reading from a teleprompter and everything like that. Like I don't want to be that, because she's got a project coming up that involves like building a landmark in Chicago, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to help you with that. Yeah. That is not my wheelhouse, and I have zero interest in it. Recently, she goes, Dad, you want to do some crafts with me? I go, I love you, but no. I go, that's not my thing. I go, I will do lots of other things. I go, crafts, it's not one of those things you're going to get me to do. This
isn't what Dad does. Yeah.
She's like, I'm going to build fairies out of these crafts. I'm like, have fun. Let me know what they look like. I'm going to go play games.
Dad lives in the virtual world. Anything digital, Dad's got you. But
she came out, she's like, Dad, you want to play vampires?
Sausage hands? No.
She's like, Dad, you want to play Vampire Survivors? I'm like, pull up a chair, kid. Let's do this. Woo! Bring it on. But like, yeah, crafts. Nah, you're going to go build the Willis Tower. Have fun. Let me know how it goes. Like,
I remember having to build in grade school, we had to build a pyramid. And it had to be one where the side could come off, and you actually built like the tunnel, like you had to build out the inside. And my grandfather at the time was still around and healthy. And he was one of those guys that didn't need a blueprint. You could just say, hey, I'd really like a garbage can. He goes, I got it. Or I'd really like a bench for my entryway. He goes, give me about a month. And he would just show up with a gorgeous piece of furniture that he built himself, or a rocking horse, or like whatever it was for a kid. Anything you needed. So he sat down. He's like, all right, let's figure out how we can do this. And I gotta say, my fucking pyramid was probably one of the best in the class. It was so cool. Now, did he do the majority of the work? Yes. Did I sit with him and learn how he did it? Yes.
Yeah.
So both things can be true.
Yes. Because that's the thing too, is like at the end of the day, I'm like, what's the purpose of this? The purpose of this is for you to do this. Right. Like to learn how to do this. It's easy for me to be like, yeah, go build your thing because I have no interest. It'll be really difficult if it's like, hey, we have to do a video. And I'm like, you do? Really? What?
Do tell.
What? Hey, have you thought about how you're going to get good audio? have you thought about how you're going to do that? Like, is it just all one shot? Like, do you have a script? Do you just,
How are we shooting this? Is this a oneer? What are you thinking? Yeah.
Do you want to do
setup?
any voiceover for this? Do you need any voiceover for this? Because Dad can help. Like,
Right.
those are the things where I'm like, I don't want to invade her creativity, and I don't want to get involved with that sort of stuff. But I also, if she comes up with an idea, she's like, Dad, I have an idea for the school project where I do this. Can you help me? And I'm like, you've come to the right place, child.
Sit down. Let me begin.
Let me open up my software. Let us do what we do.
Doug takes out his ancient tome.
I'll be like, yes. As I lick who licks, you know what? Quick side tangent. People
Here we go.
Lick their finger before they turn a page. I'm like, really? Don't do it. Please don't. This is a question. This isn't me hating it. I've never understood it.
Okay. All right.
But you reserve the right to play it.
I got my finger on the button, Doug.
Yeah.
I want to see how deep into this you go.
Yeah. I've always thought it was
real quick. Real quick to that end. I'm gonna tangent on your tangent. You guys can hear this next week. I was on. You haven't heard this music podcast. We recorded yesterday, and during that recording, I think it was Richie who said like something came up. He was like, "Oh, you're not gonna go on a tirade like Doug did, did he?" I go, no, Doug is our resident ranter. I said, I'm just his sounding board. I said, you don't have to worry about rants from me.
Yeah, they triggered me twice. I fell into the trap, or they fell in the trap. We both fell in the trap twice on that show.
I was laughing on your episode. I think I was driving and I had to almost pull. I was laughing so fucking hard.
They brought up LinkedIn and they brought up Cybertrucks, and I was like, how much time do we have?
That was so good.
Part of it was they needed to kill some time anyway, so I was like, let me tell you about LinkedIn. And
Doug's like, I got this. Don't worry. Yeah.
And they're like, wow, thank you for that.
Doug. But licking your finger before you turn it.
I've never understood why. I get why people do it, right? They're like, it's hard to turn the page. It's never been that hard for me to turn the page.
Sure.
I've never had to be like, let me. I'm like, oh, gross. Maybe it's because my hands are just naturally greasy.
You're constantly clammy.
Yeah.
And that's
who
more
else
of
is
a
constantly
health issue
clammy?
for you.
Bowser. Constantly clammy.
I like it. This is a shell joke. I get that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I've never had trouble to also just grab the pages and fucking put your thumb on it and just like flip it. Like
I will say I am a finger licker when it comes to pages. I don't do it all the time, but like in the winter when my hands are real dry and I've got no moisture in them, I have been known to before I turn the page. I do it just like that. I get hard on it.
You're right. On your right is Bruno licking his butthole going, and then you just go, as you're licking your thumb to turn the page.
What if that's how Jill, so you were sitting there on the couch trying to watch TV, Jill's reading a book, you got the dog on each side, and then you and surround sound have those sounds going off. Would that just be helpful?
I would leave. I would go somewhere else. I'd be like, I'm out. I don't need to be here anymore. I don't need to be here anymore. This is terrible.
I will say I have become more self-conscious of it because I used to with anytime I would have cash, like if the bills would get stuck together.
That's another one. I didn't think about that. People would lick their fingers their thumb before they touched filthy money.
Well, and that's the thing. But since COVID, I have been very hyper aware of. I'm like, I don't want you doing that, and I don't want to do that myself and then hand you something. So there's other way. I got to find other ways to moisten my tips before I touch money.
I worked at a cash business, right? At a hotel. I got fresh bills,
Sure.
I never once have been like, gee, I should really wish I could just lick my thumb right now to count out these bills.
It happened to me yesterday.
I've never had that problem.
I could not. I had the crispest $10. You would think that they brought them out of the mint and handed them to me. Yeah. They were insanely fresh, and it was like someone vacuum sealed them together. It was and I was fumbling. Had to have been 30 seconds. I was fumbling to get these things out, and I got to the point where I was just like, "I'm sorry," and I just had to do it.
Who'd you say I'm sorry to? Who'd you apologize to?
No, in my head I said it, but I was
to yourself,
to the cashier.
Oh.
No, not to
I
me.
thought you
I don't
apologized
care.
for licking your thumb. I'm like, who'd you apologize to?
I'm sorry. I'm about to do the self.
Yeah.
And I made that sound at the cashier. Things got real weird, but I maintained eye contact.
Yeah. And they were probably like, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, we used to have the little the spongy thing at the when I worked at the Container Store. Just at all the registers, you had that little, and you could just pop your hand on that. Which again, that's the easiest thing. But you know what? I don't carry a sponge around with me, so I got my tongue.
I don't know, man. I think I'm just a naturally moist guy. I think that's what it is. And,
Yeah, I mean, you are for sure.
You know, because
it's your blessing and your curse.
Yeah.
I'm showing some signs of being fucking wet.
You know, just all the time. And I don't know. Whenever I see people do that, like, just meh.
So even if it's with themselves, if they're just reading a book and you see them like just real quick, just touch the tip of their finger to the
it's
top.
A goddamn. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm getting really close to Doug hate stuff in this moment where I'm just like I'm having a hard time with empathy because I've never lived that life where I've been unable to turn a page and I need to dip my hand in some sort of moisture in order to turn this page. I've never had that problem. I've found ways to solve that problem without licking my fingers. And so when I see people do it, I'm like,
sticks his finger
give me the
ear.
book. I'll turn the page.
I would love to see you walk up and offer to turn someone's page for them.
Here, I'm walking by. You want me to turn that page for you? I got you.
Right?
I got you. You know.
You need some moisture? You look a little dry.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. Anyway, boy, it took up more time than I thought it would, but that's okay because I'm trying to decide what I want to do, and I made the decision. Let's go. All right, secret level.
I thought you were going to promote our ship, but okay, let's just walk into secret level.
Whatever. You guys
People know how to find us.
Here. You know how to do that. We have time for that right now. We'll do that at the end. Secret level. It's a new show coming out on Prime December 10th. And it's an anthology series created by the folks that did Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix, which is also a great anthology show. You should check it out. And these folks have put together an anthology based on a whole slew of games. You've got things like Concord, Sifu, Armor Core, Unreal Tournament, Dungeons and Dragons, Warhammer 40K, Splunky, and so much more. Pac-Man was also in there. Mega Man was also in there. And so they just recently released like the full trailer for the show, and it looks fucking awesome. And I've watched this trailer about 12 times. I don't do that a lot with trailers anymore. I used to do that all the time.
You used to binge on the trailers like that.
I would just constantly rewatch them, and to find that again, find something again where I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And I just watch it and rewatch it. It's so cool.
Did the length bother you on this one at all?
No, because it's an anthology. And
okay, so you thought they needed that runway.
Because I feel like I don't know shit about any of those, what any of those things are going to be about. That's fair. And also, I think it was a tremendously edited like trailer as well. They did such a good job of capturing similar emotional moments from the shows and like putting them together. Yeah. And interesting. Like there's a part where there's a robot that's beating the shit out of another robot. He's like, it slices through with the sword and then pulls out a shotgun and puts it right into the hole that it just slashed through. And right as it's about to pull the trigger, you see this beautiful, cute little lizard that goes pop as this bubble pops in front of its mouth. So it's like, it's about to fire and it's like, pop. I'm like, wow, that's really fucking good editing right there. That's clever, really impressive. Yeah. But I it's just like, again, I don't know what most of these games, I've never played most of these games. But I'm super pumped for Warhammer 40K. Surprise, surprise. So those shots in that just look dope as fuck. You got 4 Space Marines just charging what appears to be like chaos guys and beating the fucking shit out of them, which looked amazing.
That looked really fucking cool.
That was so cool. The part where like the guy just runs through whatever barricade there was and it just explodes, or the 4 of them like all stab at the same time. It looked just really, really cool. The Dungeons and Dragons shit looked awesome. There's a shot where someone shoots an arrow and some monk dwarf grabs the arrow out of midair and throws it back, hits a guy in the face. I'm like, that's awesome. Yep. That's so cool.
It looked like Mega Man getting his suit put on him and in a kind of a la Iron Man a little bit.
Yeah. Like that's a property I haven't thought about in forever. And I was like, oh, Mega Man, cool. You know, like some of these things that like, I don't know, it would have been cool to see some sort of cinematic element to it.
Yeah.
and you're getting a little taste of it, which I think is really, really cool. Like, I would have thought Unreal Tournament, you know what I mean? Like Pac-Man. I mean, the quick shot of that looked like a horror film. I don't know, but
I'm really curious. So as someone like, you are tangentially aware of a lot more of these even than I, like, even though you haven't played them, you're more aware, you're more plugged into that world. I know even less than you do about a lot of these. And this trailer had me salivating. I was like, this is 100% something I'm going to be watching, because just the idea that they take, I'm aware, again, I know of God of War, and I'm like, I never played it, but like to see them take a narrative approach to, some aspect of that and put it in there, like that's just going to be badass. And the list of cast that they've got to voice some of this stuff is insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. When that's at the end, they just had all these names that started to show up on the thing. I'm like, my God, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kevin Hart, Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
Laura Bailey of Vox Machina and Critical Role and other amazing voice acting stuff.
Tons of people on here. It looks really cool. Now, how excited are you that it's an Amazon Prime Video, Doug?
Not thrilled about that.
Gotta watch those ads.
But guess what? Who has the fucking money to license all this shit? Amazon.
Well, that's fair too.
Because that shit ain't cheap. That's for sure.
It's not cheap. Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting, because I think what drew me the most to this is the fact that it was from the people that did Love, Death, and Robots, because I feel that vibe from this. Love, Death, and Robots.
Okay.
I can't recommend enough. For basically, it's a collection of short films, animation. Most of it's like CGI sort of stuff, and a lot of it's dark, but it's very interesting. And it's some of it's funny, but a lot of it is just very unique storytelling of just different elements and different things in different places, and it's very, very cool. And I really enjoyed that series, and watching this, I'm like, oh man, if they take even a small amount of that and put that towards this with some of these games and whatever. No, that's just like, I don't know, man. Like taking a cool, unique perspective on some of these things. I'm like, I'm in. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
Well, and each one looks like it's done in a different style, which I think is really cool. Like there's some that are like very much like animation. There's some that look like anime. There's some that look CG'd, like almost had an Uncanny Valley feel to some of the ones. I just all over the board. And so I think just the fact that they are potentially tweaking the storytelling style to what suits the game, I feel like that's another
like
really
the
cool
Spelunky
nod
one.
to.
Like that one has a very fun like gameplay and art style, and it looks like it is similar in this show as well. It's very like lighthearted, cartoony-ish sort of thing. And then of course you got 40K, which is grimdark, future stuff. And it's like, here they are walking through mist and dust and smoke, punching the shit out of stuff. I'm like, yeah, that tracks, that's cool. And Sifu looks amazing. Just, a dude, I don't understand what's going on there, but I'm here for it. It looks so badass.
Guys just like knifing Keanu people. Reeves in it.
I think it's Armor Core. I don't know. There's some stuff I don't know what most of these games are or how to apply to it, but I'm like, I don't know what these things are. Maybe that's why, because you don't know them that well, that they were able to get the license for it. I don't know.
You know what? That's another good possibility. Yeah.
Because there ain't no Mario in there. That's for sure.
The one weirdly, the one that I'm, the most excited about, I think, is Mega Man, because I have not seen, like, outside the video games. I did play the original Mega Man video games, but outside of that, I really haven't seen them do much with that property. I think there was a cartoon when we were younger, maybe, but I'm just really curious to see, like, what are they gonna, which way are they gonna take it? Is it gonna be your origin story? And like, I don't know, just certain things that I think would be really really cool to see them just tug on the thread and see where it goes.
So to list off all of the brands, there's Armored Core, Concord, which RIP, that game is already discontinued, which is kind of hilarious. God of War, Crossfire, Dungeons and Dragons, Exodus, Honor of Kings, Mega Man, New World, Eternium, Pac-Man, PlayStation, don't know what the fuck that is, Sifu, Spelunky, The Outer Worlds, Unreal Tournament, and Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2. So I've heard of maybe half of those. So
Yeah.
But yeah, again, super pumped for the 40K stuff because hell yeah. Hell yeah. But if you haven't, check out the trailer. You can find it on YouTube or wherever it's awesome. And what a great question about the length of the trailer too. I was like, what? Yeah. If it was just for one movie, it'd be like, this is too long.
Yeah.
But
well, as I was watching it, I realized, because Doug sent it to me right before we started recording, and I realized, I'm like, I've been sitting here in silence for what feels like forever with Doug watching me watch the trailer. And I was like, this trailer it's about 2 minutes and 40 something seconds. So I was like, it hits that point where you and I have talked about before, like, yeah, come on, what are we doing? But
under 3 minutes for 15 stories, not bad.
But it moved is the thing.
Yeah.
Like you said, the editing on it was engrossing. It kept you kept you locked in, and it kept you interested in what was coming next. So it did move. It didn't. Some of the trailers just feel like a slog, or it feels like it's giving everything away. This did not. You just got a little taste of everything.
Yeah, I think what'll suck about this is that means it's probably going to be one a week. So it's going to be 15 fucking weeks. And I'm willing to bet the last one's probably, I'm like, they're
2
probably
episodes will be released every week is what it says.
Oh, thank God. I was like, that's a lot. 15 weeks, dude. One every week. All right. That's cool. Because also, I don't know how long they're going to be. Typically, the Love, Death, and Robots, like the longest one was like 10 minutes. So like they were very quick.
Seriously?
Yeah, they were shorts. So they were
so I didn't realize that. Interesting.
So I'm curious to see if they're going to do something similar to this, where they're just going to be like, boom, you're in it.
Right.
And then you're done sort of situation.
That'd be smart. That would move it along too. I like, and this is something that, man, you could, not only would it be easy to do a season 2 of this, but it would, and bring any of these back, but you could, if this goes well, and other franchises are like, hey, this, let's say any of these series see a little uptick in, like, like me, like I've never played, Warhammer 40K, anything. Like maybe I watch this, I'm like, you know what? I'm curious now. Let me pick up a game, or let me look into the property a little bit more. So this could be something where other properties, other IPs come along and go, you know what? You can have us for your next season if you want to do this. So this could open up a big door for them.
Well, I tell you what, if you're ever interested in learning more about Warhammer 40K, I'm your Huckleberry. All right.
Do you know someone who
do.
likes it?
I do. I'll let you know.
Is it Henry Cavill?
I'll let you know. He does. I wish I knew him, but I don't. But speaking of the great Henry Cavill, there was this really shittily titled article.
Yeah.
From
I want to specifically call out InsideTheMagic.net. You're on watch, okay? That's a warning.
Which I just realized, I'm like, what's with this website? InsideTheMagic.net. I'm like, oh, no wonder. And if you look at the top of the website, they've got theme parks, entertainment, featured videos, win $100. So
wait, what is it? So it's like, colorized pictures of, we got Harry Potter, Captain America Civil War, there's Han Solo, the castle from Disney World, Mario, Link,
Zelda, Link from, we got Mickey Minnie, we've got BB-8. That looks like Superman and Batman, and
Rick Grimes.
Yeah, like what the fuck is this?
That's a big curveball at the end there. That's a big.
I was like, wait, who's this guy with the big gun? Is that Walking Dead?
That's a big curveball.
Bizarre collection.
InsideTheMagic.net, you are on warning number 1. All right.
Who are you, InsideTheMagic.net?
Right.
Like, what is this? Anyway, they had an article titled "Goodbye Affleck, Cavill, and Godot. New DCU's Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman revealed." So if you hear that or read that headline, you're like, "Oh, they've recasted all these characters in the DC universe." It's not what they're saying. What they're saying is the DC Comics universe has released new stories, and basically they're kind of, I don't know if I call it a retcon, but they're creating recreating these characters in a new universe called the Absolute Universe.
Yeah.
So they've got Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman, with Absolute Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter and Flash coming out in March. And as I was reading through this, kind of annoyed that this article was so misleading from its title, but then getting more interested as I was reading this, they essentially are just retelling these stories of these characters, but with new backgrounds. Like, for example, Bruce Wayne's not a billionaire anymore. Now he's a young man who grew up in Crime Alley, and he is a gym rat. and he is
You can tell by the picture.
Yeah, the picture's kind of unsettling. And he's a city engineer. So he's able to build his own stuff instead of buy it. They buy weapons grades things.
I want
So I'm
to
like,
just check
okay.
real quick. What does a city engineer professional who plans, design, and manages a city's infrastructure and engineering project? So he's a good planner. Doesn't necessarily mean he can just build anything he puts his mind to.
I'm assuming the high level city engineers are probably more the planners. I'm guessing he's probably a low level guy that they're like, hey man, we need you to get out there and fix these pipes.
Okay.
Because they're all blocked up and you got to really clean out these pipes.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
We just got a call from Mrs. Robinson. You got to get over there and clean out the pipes.
And over here, Dick Robin needs you to lay some pipe at his house. Dick Robin. Dick Grayson, that's his name.
He's got just horrible alter ego. I'm going to be Robin, but that's your last name. Dick, your name is Dick Robin.
He's like, actually, no, I'm going to go by my stage name, which is Robin Dick, you know?
Robin. Steal from the rich and give them to the poor. Robin Dick. Are you Dick Poor? Call Robin Dick.
Call Robin Dick, because Robin Dick's got you covered, baby. So there's that. And apparently Alfred is a hardened mercenary who hunts Batman. So cool.
That is a wild twist. Did not see that. That was not on my bingo card for this.
Wild twist. Superman is now, like, instead of coming to Earth as a baby, he's now a full-grown adult who was raised on Krypton, and he shows up to some bleak dystopian world where miners are being enslaved by powerful forces. And they really nail down the fact that he doesn't just have godlike powers. He's powered by his suit, and his suit has to recharge by sun. So it's like he doesn't have just ever-present god powers, which is kind of nice. That's one of my biggest complaints about him. Check out episode 1 of Mind Gap Podcast for going out on that one. And then lastly, Absolute Wonder Woman, instead of, growing up on the utopia of Themyscira. I never know how to say it. Themyscira. She is raised in hell. And she can form bonds with hell beasts of all shapes and sizes, and she just looks way more emo and metal. Yeah. I guess my initial thought was like, I mean, that's kind of fun, I guess, to be like, what if these superheroes were different and had different stories and we could explore different stories? But it also made me wonder, like, if someone is like a regular fan or reads this sort of stuff on the regular, like, is something like this exhausting? To be like, hey, guess what? We're kind of starting over in a different universe. And this time, Batman is not a billionaire. He's a fucking blue collar worker who just works out at the gym all the time. That guy takes his creatine. He checks his macros, but he's not a conservative. He believes in vaccines.
He still is a man of science. He's a city engineer. I feel like this is well, first off, we can all agree that that's not natural, right? Like, Batman is juicing hardcore. Yeah. Obviously. Okay, as long as we're in agreement on that. So Batman is not clean. Sharing needles with Robin Dick. I think if you're a comic book reader, this is par for the course. Like, I think from a cinematic standpoint, I think it's more exhausting trying to keep up with everything going on in the cinematic universes. All the different as convoluted as the storylines are getting, the reboots, the recastings, all this other, this universe, it's the multiverse now, and this doesn't matter what happened over here, we can do this over here. That seems more exhausting to me, because I feel like as a comic book reader, one of the reasons that I've always struggled to get into comic books, we've talked about this before, is because it just seems like an impossible mountain to climb. There's so fucking much built around these stories in the comic books that it feels impossible to jump in and catch up. So at one point, I can't remember if it was Marvel or if it was DC, maybe, I don't know, between 5 and 15 years ago, they did a reboot, and they said, you don't need to, you can go back and read everything, but we're starting over. So if you want to jump in, like we're going to start all these stories over again, and they started fresh. And so I feel like it's something that does happen in this world. The fact that they're doing a different universe with this, if you're curious, you can pick it up, but it also sounds like they're not discontinuing the current storyline of these people, right? So
Yeah.
like you have the option to just ignore this if you want to,
Sure.
right? Oh,
I
Doug,
guess.
lock that up.
No.
This is how I give my answer, a well thought out answer, and Doug yawns at me. This is the kind of respect that I get on this show.
Yeah. I was just waiting for my turn to talk. I didn't hear anything you said. No, I agree that this is something that people have seen and whatnot, but I don't know. I guess if you're a fan of it, it's probably, like you said, this is probably something you're used to, but I'm also like, great. So now we get to see, all right, what's the absolute Joker like? What's the absolute Penguin like? What's the absolute Bane? What's the absolute Lex Luthor? And I'm like, I think, again, from a creative standpoint, kind of fun to play in this sandbox, right? Like, what if Bruce Wayne was just a city engineer who liked to, juice it up at the gym? And I honestly, Superman stuff I find kind of interesting, right? Just a regular, an adult Superman comes down. His powers are a little more muted to some extent. What's he like?
Right.
Because part of like what Superman is he grew up in the Midwest America, and he was instilled with those values, and that made him who he is. Is he a different guy because he comes as an adult now, and
is he
wherever
good?
he is he good? Are his morals? Is he more neutral? You know what I mean?
And to the power thing, you've got to be strategic about how you use them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just go ham all the time.
Right. Which I think putting those sort of logistical barriers in place makes him, I think he has to be smarter and more tactical, as opposed to, I'm just going to punch through this wall and use my laser eyes,
right.
He's got to consider what he has at his disposal. He's basically got spell slots now, he's like a wizard in D&D, he's got spell slots. He's got mana points, you got to think about how he's going to use his stamina and all that sort of stuff. I think Wonder Woman sounds cool. Like, being raised in hell and whatever.
This. Yeah, like what is it? Hellhounds, or what was it? The demons that she can connect with? Like that sounds interesting. Or hell beasts.
Again, it sounds great. Can we just call them someone different?
Like what? So you're saying just make a new character? Why do we
just make new characters?
That's fair too. That's a fair point. I think from a creative standpoint,
do we have to do Superman? Do we have to do Batman? Do we have to do can we just make something new? I don't know.
From a marketing standpoint, you absolutely have to use these characters,
of course,
because you trying to get buy-in. I think maybe that's where they would see a harder climb. Trying to get buy-in on fresh characters with as crowded as this fucking market is right now.
Also, what people would do? They'd be like, "Hey, this guy is basically a city engineer who builds his own shit and just basically works out and beats the shit out of criminals." Kind of just sounds like a low-rent Batman.
Right. It's a dollar store Batman, bro.
Oh, yeah. What is this? Dollar store Superman who just basically has to recharge like a fucking cell phone? All right. Okay. Whatever, bro. But I don't know. I mean,
from a creative standpoint, I do think it sounds interesting. For like as a writer, like as someone who would try your hand at this, like how cool would it be to get this assignment and be like, all right, I have to reimagine these characters, but here's my new limitations, or here's my how does that change, like you said, their morals and their ethics and like what they stand for and all of that. A very interesting task to be assigned. That said, I do agree with you that for me, like I'm like, oh good, another thing I won't be following in the comics because it just seems like it's too much. Like it's just more for me to try to follow. Like, so there is an element of it being exhausting. Like I said, I know I can ignore it if I want to, just follow the one, or just follow this and ignore everything else. But it does seem like they're, I don't know, they're flooding the market with their own product.
They're flooding the market with shit. Is that what you said?
They're flooding the market with their own product. There is an element to that. I will concede that there's definitely an element of them. Just, it's like, all right, this is what we have to do now. Okay, cool. You got to remember these characters.
Yeah. I love how you phrase that as if you're going to cancel, your subscription to all the comic books that you have coming to your house. You're like, I mean, I'm probably not going to follow this, you know, and I could just probably ignore this if I want to. I'm like, oh yeah, are you mad that you go to the comic book store every week to get your stuff, and you're like,
I got to sift through these now. Yeah,
I gotta look at this bullshit now. This is some bullshit.
See, what this does for me is when I'm at the comic book store and I'm in those bins, I have to keep rereading my fingers to rifle through these comic books, man. I'm just licking my palm as I'm touching all the comic books. It's exhausting.
It's disgusting. You're a dirty boy. Dirty boy. He's a dirty boy. Yeah, I don't know. I just saw this and I was just like, man, does this get tiring at all? Because I think what I would get annoyed with is like I said earlier, the big thing is like, great. When does the big bad, that we know show up, and how are they going to be different? Is it going to be disappointing? Is it going to be weird? I don't know. I feel like you're just setting yourself up to, because then again, if you don't have those characters, people are like, where's the fucking Joker? Why isn't the Joker? What's the Joker like in this world? What's the antithesis to a bodybuilding Batman? What's that guy look like? A vegan? I don't know. Like,
he comes from Portland.
Right? And what's Flash going to be like? I don't know. I don't know. I'm so divided on this because I'm like you said, from a standpoint of creativity, it's like, cool, let's try this and see where it goes. And it's just like a casual person here just being like, oh, good. How else can we
more variants?
How else can we vary this experience and whatever? And I don't know. I hope it's good. I hope it's fun. It's kind of curious where I'm like, all right, good. Let's reinvent the thing again.
I think where it gets exhausting truly would be working for DC. Not so much the fans. I'm sure it's exhausting for some of the fans. Some of the fans are going to go, yes, more, please. I think from a standpoint of working within DC and being like, okay, which division am I part of, and what is my storyline, and what's the lore of that storyline? There's so much to untangle and keep straight. That to me would be a nightmare. Yeah. To have to try to keep all of that information straight and know what sandbox you're playing in. I can't think of anything more horrendous than that. Yeah.
Garbage is what I say, sir. Garbage.
It's absolute garbage. Also, real quick, I just want to say I clicked on the home page for InsideTheMagic.net. And
it's like all Disney World stuff.
It is. Well, and that makes sense inside the Magic. But why do we have Rick Grimes up
why
there?
And
why do we have DC? But also top stories. Relive your 2000s glory days with Lizzie McGuire inspired Crocs. Just below that, Donald Trump's newest appointment poses major threat to Disney. What's the reporting we're doing here?
Yeah, well, because Lizzie McGuire is a Disney property, Justin.
This is wild.
And I was like, I don't understand. At first I was like, why is Mario and Link? But those are associated with Universal Studios. So if you're like kind of connected to the theme park stuff and whatever's going on over there, maybe Harry Potter also makes sense in that regard. Obviously Star Wars, but Rick Grimes, I'm like, where's Walking Dead fit in with all this? I don't know.
That's what I want to know. Yeah.
That's quite odd.
And Harry Potter. Well, I guess Harry Potter. Yeah.
DrInsideTheMagic.net. If you could reach out to us and let us know what your intentions are, we'd very much appreciate it. Thank you. Get back to us.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting back to stuff, Justin, it's time to put on those big boy pants and put on those ears and start listening to see if you can figure out what movies these audio clips are coming from. Because it's that time again, folks. We're doing it. We're playing the game where Doug picks random moments from movies that he remembers and plays them for Justin to see if he can guess what the movie is. You nailed it last week. We were vibing big time.
We were, yeah. That's the theme song, by the way.
I didn't hear it.
0.7 seconds of, because we're guessing.
I didn't hear it. So
you still can't hear that?
No, that's fine. We'll probably figure that shit out later.
Forget about it then. Yep.
Yeah. I'm glad. Good thing you're not playing the clips this week, huh? Because
it would have been very bad. Yeah.
That would have been real problematic.
Yeah. Remember what I asked you? I said, "What sound board do you use?" Yeah. I upgraded my my OS and everything went to shit. So we're lucky. You're hearing me right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, are you ready for your first one?
Oh, Doug, I was born ready.
All right. Can you guess the movie that this audio comes from?
He's so hot for me, we give him a whiff of my ass, he'll crawl right in it. Let's give him a whiff. Sweetheart, you're giving me a hard on.
Are you sure it's me? Not all that talk about whiffing and crawling up asses.
Watch your fucking mouth.
I love everything about it. Doug, you're pulling the best goddamn clips ever. These are so good. These are so good. Also, it really just speaks to the level of writing and creativity that's out there. Like,
Yeah,
what
man.
a line. What
Right?
a line.
And not it's slightly edited to cut out some of the dead space to make it a little bit shorter. But
what a line. So that's Jack Nicholson for sure, without a doubt. God,
I realized out of context again, like just playing that and just hearing that straight up out of context, I'm like, God damn, that's funny.
It's very funny. Yeah. Especially when you're not expecting it.
Yeah. Like, what?
So I can narrow. It's not A Few Good Men. I am pretty sure it's not that.
Correct. It is not A Few Good Men.
Great. We're going to play Process of Elimination. Is that, you know what? I think I just got it. Give it to me one more time.
All right. Okay, good. I was hoping we could play it one more time. Here we go.
He's so hot for me, we give him a whiff of my ass, he'll crawl right in it. Let's give him a whiff. Sweetheart, you're giving me a hard on.
Are you sure it's me? Not all that talk about whiffing and crawling up asses.
Watch your fucking mouth.
There's some clues. There's some clues there.
There is. I'm going to say The Departed.
You are correct. I was like, the accent is the biggest clue.
And that's what I want. Before I said it, I was like, I want to go back one more time and make sure that was the Boston. And yeah, that was like, there's no other movie that could be. I was gonna say like Chinatown, but I'm like, I don't think.
That's an older film.
I was like, I don't think he's talking about whiffing asses and crawling up asses and yeah.
Do you remember the context of the scene at this point in time?
God, I don't. I was trying to figure out where. Now, is he talking? The woman he's talking to, is she? Is she on the law enforcement side?
No.
Okay, then I'm very lost on what scene it is.
So he's having a conversation with Matt Damon. I cut out this happens towards the end of the movie where like Dignam has basically quit the force, which is Mark Wahlberg basically has quit, and he's Matt Damon's character is freaking out because he's like, I'm not going to be able to get to these files to figure out who the rat is, and he's like, Dignam quit. He put in his papers. He's like, that Irish cocksucker. He's got so hard for me. Just give him a whiff of my ass. He'll crawl right in it, And then when he's done, he turns to his lady and he's like, sweetheart, you giving me a hard on? And she's like, you sure it's me? No, that talk about whiffing and crawling up asses. He's like, you watch your fucking mouth.
Watch your fucking mouth.
And then she goes, no, you watch it. She goes, no, you watch it. I'm going to take care of you. And then she goes to have sexual intercourse with him in some way. But yeah, I love that. Just the whole sequence of things of like whiffing and asses. He's like, sweetheart, you giving me a hard on. It was such a weird thing too, to be like, he gets off the phone. He's like, you're making me hard. And she's like, I'm just sitting here in the room with you, but okay.
Okay. If this is what we're doing, great.
If you say so, okie dokie. All right.
I also love how quick the turn is too, where he's like, you're giving me a hard on. And she says,
watch your fucking mouth.
Part as you watch your fucking mouth.
I know it's
so
it's a weird. It's honestly a really unique choice as a character.
It is,
like, as you're reading those lines, I'm like, I don't know how to interpret this shit, but I mean, obviously they're great. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just so upset about that. Anyway, all right. You ready for the next one?
Let's do it.
All right. Name that movie.
What do you need us for?
Because some damn fool accused you of being the best.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
The bicep high five. Yeah. Dylan, you son of a bitch. That is Predator, baby.
That's right.
Without a doubt. That was, again, the very first, the way you edited that down also, the first line, the first guy says his line, and then there's a kind of like a pregnant pause there. And I thought, I'm like, that's it? I genuinely thought you'd given me literally a sentence worth. I'm like, okay, Doug, that's not fair.
I wanted to do just the, Dylan, you son of a bitch, and just have the smack. You probably still would have gotten it from that, but I was like,
I might have, yeah.
I wanted to give you a little more context.
Sure,
with that. So
Yeah.
They hear Dylan, you son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch.
And that's it. It'd be like, can you get that? Maybe not. I don't know.
Play it again though, and tell me if you don't hear that pause. How if you're hearing it for the first time, you think like, wait, is that it? Like,
here we go.
What do you need us for?
Because some damn fool accused you of being the best.
I hear it.
It just it stops like twice, and you're like, wait, what? No, is
like,
that's it? That can't be it. Yeah.
Is that it? No, that's it, man. What do you need
Woo!
us for?
2 for
Nice
2,
job.
baby.
All right, here we go. Last
All right.
one. Let's go.
Why are you always smiling?
Because it's all so fucking hysterical.
Why are you
always smiling?
Why are you smiling? Because it's also fucking hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
this is kind of a deep cut.
The thing is, I know it. Like it's triggering something in my brain. I know this one, but it's one of those where I got locked in early with something, and now my brain is like, it's slowly that is eating away at that, like the ability to think outside the box. Give that to me again.
Here we go.
Why are you always smiling?
Because it's all so fucking hysterical.
Oh, why are you always smiling? Because it's all so fucking hysterical. Oh, crap.
If you can name the actor, not the child, but the man.
Yeah.
That's
I was going to say the child, not a chance.
Don't know.
Yeah.
The
Lindsay Lohan. I don't know.
The adult actor, if you can place that, not only are you like a superhero, but it would be a huge clue. I think it's tough because the hint I will give you is that that's not his normal accent.
Right. Right. Oh, crap. Okay. Why are you always smiling? Because it's also fucking hysterical. Oh man, this is gonna kill me. Because I know the clip. I know this. I know
You've
the
seen
line.
this movie for sure.
I've no doubt that I've seen this movie before. Oh Christ. Damn it. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna get there. I'm not giving up on this one.
That's fine.
I'm not giving up on this one. So initially, I thought it was another Jack Nicholson. I'll say that. Like initially, I was like, "This is another."
I could hear that.
You know what I mean? Like
I can hear that with the tenor and the graveliness of the voice. Yeah.
And it's he begins speaking. The more he speaks, you lose it. But right at the beginning, it sounds like him. And I was like, well, maybe is it Joker? Like, you know. Okay, because it's also fucking hysterical. Oh my god, this is killing me. Just trying to think like who's in. So it's someone with a deformity, right? Like it's someone who has either been in an accident or whose face is deformed and they are smiling, or their face is turned up.
Incorrect.
That's incorrect. Got it. There's a mask on.
No.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint.
Why did she say, "Why are you always smiling"? She asked him, "Why are you always smiling?" Right?
Why are you always smiling?
Why are you always smiling? Give it to me one more time.
All right, here we go.
Why are you always smiling?
Because it's all so fucking hysterical.
So fucking hysterical. It's not Colin Farrell, is it?
It's not Colin Farrell. That's a really good guess. I could see why you'd think that.
Fuck. All right.
In this film,
Yep.
there's a part of the film that takes place in Rock Island, Illinois. There's also a part of the film that takes place.
Road to Perdition.
It is Road to Perdition. Wow.
Yes.
That's what got you there. That's what got you there.
There's
Holy
not
shit.
many films that are filmed in Rock Island, Illinois.
Fuck me. All right.
And
well, there you go.
ironically, Rock Island is not called out at all in the beginning of the film. Like they don't mention where they are. There's no signage, no nothing. And I'm like, okay. I had to look it up because I was like, wasn't this film partially in the Quad Cities? Very much was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Bam. That's what gave it to you. How about that?
Oh, thank you.
So do you know the scene?
I'm still struggling. The thing is, I watched this within the last like 2 or 3 months. And that's why it was so. I was like, I know I've just heard this somewhere.
Okay. So
I'm struggling to remember what it was.
Towards the beginning of the film, they're at a wake, and Tom Hanks' character and Paul Newman's character sit down at a piano and they play a song together.
Yes.
It's very heartfelt, and when they're done, everyone claps.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel Craig is the man who is saying it's also fucking hysterical.
Yes.
Tom Hanks' son, after everyone claps, he turns to it. It's a very great emotional scene as Daniel Craig, who is the son of Paul Newman, is
right. Tom Hanks is like the chosen son, but Daniel Craig is
Tom Hanks.
Right.
Yeah, Paul Newman loves Tom Hanks, does not love Daniel Craig, and Daniel Craig's watching this beautiful moment between these two men, and you watch him smiling, but you can see behind that smile is just like disdain, frustration, and just a lot of emotion. And then Tom Hanks' son just says, "Why are you always smiling?" And he just like smiles, and he turns and he leans into the kid, and he's like, "Because it's all so fucking hysterical." He says it in such a chilling tone.
It's menacing, yeah, because he's that smile is hiding all the rage.
And then not that long after, that boy repeats that to his brother as they're like, when the older brother is like reading under his blankets and stuff like that, and they're talking at night when they should be going to bed. And as they end, he's like, "Go to bed," and his younger brother goes, "It's all so fucking hysterical." And the older brother just like looks at him like, "What the fuck?" And then it cuts to a different scene. Like, "What'd you just say?" Like,
that's right.
Very, very funny.
Yes. Well,
good job.
Yes, good choices.
Thank
Road
you.
to Perdition. What another curveball choice.
Great film.
Choice though.
Great film. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, Justin, what do you have to recommend this week?
I am going to recommend Inside Out 2. If you have Disney Plus, you can find it on there. I was a big fan of Inside Out. A lot of people that I talked to, I know it got critical praise. A lot of people that I had talked to about it when it came out weren't super keen on it. They were a little cold to it. And I thought it was such a good fucking movie. I loved the first one. I thought it was wildly, in the circle of people I talked with, wildly underrated. This one came out, and I thought it was equally as good, if not better. I thought this one did such a good job showing the absolute anxiety of growing up and going through teenage years. Like the scenarios they laid out, if you didn't have the exact scenario happen, you had a scenario that was akin to it, you know exactly what Riley's going through. And it is such a great way of showing what it looks like inside someone's brain and how all these things tie into each other. So I can't speak highly enough. Inside Out and Inside Out 2, go check them out. Both available on Disney Plus. You will not be disappointed. So good.
As I said, I think when that movie ccame out, I don't know if I said it on here, but I told it the one scene I connected to the most in Inside Out 2 is the part where Riley is walking with all the cool kids and she doesn't know what to do with her hands.
Sure. Yep.
She's like, "Do I put them in my pocket? Do I swing them? I don't know what to do with my hands." I had a very specific moment in my junior high career, in my time there, where I was just walking and someone just goes, "Man, you really swing your arms when you walk." And I was like, from that moment on for like, I don't know, 8 months, that whole year, I was like, I didn't know how to walk. I didn't know what to do with my hands.
In your head about it.
I was just like walking straight, not moving my hands. And that felt even more awkward as I just walked without moving. It was just like a casual, like, you move your hands a lot when you walk. And I was like, what am I supposed to do?
So Doug just jams his hands in his pocket and was like,
exactly. I spent most of my time just being like, I'll put my hands in my pockets because I don't know what to do with my hands. And like, that really spoke to me. I was like, oh my God, that is really, really funny. So I'm like, I get it. I identify with that. So
yeah. Also, I'm going to give a second recommendation. Deadpool and Wolverine, also streaming on Disney Plus now.
Nice.
I've watched it twice since November 12th. And I'm going to watch it again. I really fucking love that movie. I really like it. Yeah.
Great movie. Glad it's out there.
And I'm catching things. The third time through, I'm catching things I'm like, didn't catch it the first 2 times.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
Little Easter eggs. Yeah.
So cool. I'm going to recommend a game called Ember Ward on Steam. It's like $15 and it's a great tower defense game. It was recommended to me by a good friend. And it's essentially like you build your maze as the levels go on. And then you basically get random amounts of towers and you just basically try to build and stop guys from getting in. And it's got some really unique elements. I'm a sucker for tower defense games. If you're a sucker for tower defense games, pick this things up. It's, again, a $15 game. I think it's like one guy that builds this out, one developer, and it's really fun, really enjoyable.
Fantastic.
And I put a bunch of time into it already. and it's been super duper fun. So highly recommend it. You should check it out. Can't wait till they do the secret level on that game. You know what I mean?
Dude, a secret level tower defense game would be, tower defense episode would be really cool.
Pretty dope. I'd be here for it. I'd love to see someone take a really cool, serious approach to that. It's like a serious, like deadly thing. It's like, but it's tower defense, you know? We got to build more towers. We got to maze it so they know where to. Why do they have to take this specific path? It's just the way they work, man. So we got to cut them off of but we can't just block it off entirely. They got to have a path to get to because that's where they want to get to is our base. So all along this path, we're going to put up structures and shoot them as they come through. They're like, this seems really dumb. It's the way the world works, man. It's the world we live in, you know? All right, General.
See, take it from the opposite side. Take it from the side of the people trying to get to the tower.
Yeah, there you go.
And see, and then you have to go through. There's your setup. You're having to go through like a Home Alone style maze of just shit.
Or it's just like a classic, class thing where like the haves and the have-nots are trying to get there to get what they need. You know,
we're talking. We're right.
And the guy that's leading him, General Robin Dick. You know, because he's taking from the rich, give to the poor.
It can be no other.
It has to be Robin Dick.
It has to be Robin Dick.
General Robin Dick. Well, gang, thanks so much for listening. I had a lot of fun this week. As always, please check us out on all our social medias at Mind Gap Podcast. Check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Mind Gap Podcast. We're dangerously close to 500 subs. Oh, you could get us there. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment on all the stuff we talked about tonight. What Mario Kart character would you be? What do you think about the secret level trailer? What do you think about the DC comic book universe? Huh? Did you get any of the audio cues that I played? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear about it. Check the link in the description to links to our Discord, links to our Patreon, links to our merch at Redbubble. And be sure to check out Justin online as well.
On Instagram at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. And while you're in the online realm, anywhere where you can find and listen to audio versions of podcasts, we're on there too. So go ahead, subscribe, rate, review, download, whatever you do on those things. All the options that you have, do all of the options. And then also share us. Share us around. Let people know that we exist. And then 2east8th.com, 2east8th on all social media, loveanimprovfilm.com, loveanimprovfilm on Instagram.
Booyah! With that, I'll say, Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
Listeners, viewers, thank you. And you all have a dandy fucking week.
Mind Gap Podcast.